You know, it's been a long time since I've been super excited over software or even over editing. If you haven't been paying attention, earlier this week, Blackmagic Design held a live event where they announced DaVinci Resolve 17, and the beta version of that is now out currently. 16.3 beta was out, but I guess it really doesn't matter anymore since 17 beta's out and we could just forget about 16.3 being a thing. During that event, they introduced over 100 new features, and each and every one of those is something that I'm super psyched about, but ain't nobody got time for that because it took them over 2 hours just to introduce them. Because, you know, there's tons, hundreds, 100, at least, more than 100 new features. And I'm gonna focus on those in a future video, not like one video, probably numerous videos over the next, until 18 comes out, and we'll go from there. But at the end of this video, there's a bonus because Blackmagic Design has announced something new, which is really exciting. You might want to know about it, so, make sure you stick around until then. So if you don't know already and the channel title isn't enough, my name's Ray. I help out creative entrepreneurs, so consider subscribing. This week though, because DaVinci Resolve 17 was just released, we're focusing on that. Let's get into my top 5 favorite new features that are in DaVinci Resolve 17, starting now. So the first one that stands out are the additional titles and transitions, as well as live previews for them. Live previews is something that I wish that we had before, because I'm sure you've already tried to drag one effect onto your timeline, or maybe you dragged some text, some lower thirds, just to see how they would interact and see what's going on, but then you had to delete it because it wasn't what you were looking for, and then you moved on to the next one. Instead now, all you have to do is hover over the effect. It's gonna show you right on your timeline as you scroll over it what's happening. So this is something that's super exciting. So number 2 is Magic Mask. One of the biggest updates went into the color page. They completely redesigned the entire thing, but Magic Mask is something that really stood out to me, especially during their live event. So if you don't know already, Magic Mask is a feature that will isolate a person or a person's bodily features from the rest of the video, and you can track it and it'll create a mask just like that using AI. Now I'm sure you've run into a situation where you're trying to key a person from the background, which, we'll use this as an example. My background matches my skin color almost, so a lot of times what ends up happening is I end up blending into the background, and it's a lot worse if I use orange on the background, which I did in the latest video on my other channel, which I'll leave a link to up here. But it was such a pain in the butt to try and pull a key and make sure that key followed, and it just wasn't working. With Magic Mask, you just draw a line on the person or the body part, you track it, and it's gonna isolate it from the background. Now, as of right now, it's not perfect and you can tweak it a bit. It's not something that I've played around a lot with, but it is something that I'm excited to delve deeper into, just to figure out the inner mechanics and figure out how I can get it to work along with, what it is I'm doing. Definitely gonna have to play with this in a future video. So number 3 also has to do with the color page, which is the HDR panel / customizable color wheels. With this new addition, you're really able to fine-tune your coloring work, so you can focus and change the different ranges for what the different wheels do. So there's one for black, one for dark, one for shadows, one for light, one for highlights, one for specular, and one for global. Obviously, being able to adjust the range just makes it that much better, so you can focus in on those fine details, those little nuances. Those are the things that really matter. Number 4 is render in place. This is something that I actually don't remember them talking about during the live, but I was scrolling through the new features and it's something that really stood out to me. What is it? Imagine taking all of the effects and all of your super processor intensive features and baking them into the video on your timeline. So not only are you going to speed up your playback, but you can also pass those files off to somebody else, or you can just speed up your entire render process. Yeah, that's gonna save so much time. Awesome, right? It's now a feature in DaVinci Resolve on the edit page. All you have to do is right-click any clip or multiple clips and click render in place. Then you just select your options for it, you export it, and automatically DaVinci Resolve will render the file into the source directory where the other source file is, and then it's gonna automatically import it into the media pool for you. So it's gonna be just automatic. You just click a button, you select a few options, you render it out, and boom, it's done. In my last video, I talked about those pesky GPU errors and how to speed up rendering. This wasn't even a thing for that. So now that we have this, you can just pretty much add it to the list, because now it's a thing. Now it's there. One less reason to curse out your slow ass computer. Unless it's a fast computer, in which case, good for you. Moving on to the final one, number 5, is going to be collaborations. I know collaborations were included in the studio version, but now they're opening up collaborations for the free version as well. This is something I'm sure you're going to be excited about, because I was super excited about it. And I believe that they announced that this is going to be in the 17 full version and not necessarily the beta. I could be wrong, but I'm just going off the information that they gave me, so maybe they already implemented it. Who knows? Now, if you don't know what collaborations in DaVinci Resolve means, it means that you host your media somewhere on a project server, probably on the same computer that you're working on, but somebody else is also able to access that project and edit it at the same time that you're editing it. And you can pass messages off between the two of you and really just have your entire team working with it. Previously, you needed a key for each of the computers that you were going to use to collaborate on and, access DaVinci Resolve, but now they've passed it off to even the free version. So just an example for how this could work, while I'm doing the coloring and the audio for the Foodie 2, my girlfriend could be doing the subtitles for it. In any event, that's just an example, but you can use it for your own purposes. You don't need to buy a bunch of keys if you have a team of people working on the same things. Somebody could be using a studio version for certain effects that just aren't available normally. Noise reduction is the perfect example for this. And then somebody else on your team can be doing subtitles, or they can be doing the audio, or they could be doing something that doesn't require the studio version. And really, that's gonna not only help you save time, that's gonna help you save money, but the main reason why they did it is because, unfortunately, with the pandemic and everything going on, people aren't meeting in closed spaces. It's a lot easier to do all of this stuff remote, and this is something that I'm super excited about, even though I've already paid for it, but I'm happy for you. Now you've sat through this entire video, I want to give you the bonus. So Blackmagic Design announced during the live event that they have a new panel, which is the speed editor. It is built for the cut page, and it is supposed to speed up the process. It can do pretty much everything that you can do with a mouse and a keyboard, but a lot quicker because there are designated keys to it. They didn't just build a whole nother keyboard with a QWERTY layout. No, they actually built dedicated buttons with a jog wheel and everything else on there. The other thing that they announced for it, though, is that for a limited introductory period, when you buy DaVinci Resolve Studio, they're also going to toss in that panel for free, which actually really stung a bit, because back in March I bought the studio version for DaVinci Resolve, and I don't need another studio version of it, but the fact that the panel costs just as much as the license, it's like getting two things for the price of one, so it might not be a bad idea to invest in that, really. So this year, Blackmagic Design really focused on speeding up the workflow and improving the interface and making things work a lot smoother, which is something that I've loved about the software, which is why I ended up investing into the software earlier this year after using it for almost 3 years. Plus that they give free training on their website. But what am I trying to sell you on? You're already watching this video probably because you already have DaVinci Resolve, so good for you. So I want to know, did you watch the live event? Have you watched other people's videos? Let me know down in the comments below. What are the features that you're most excited about? And while you're at it, don't forget to smash that like button, hit the subscribe button, because I'm coming out with more videos, of course. Until next time, I'll catch you later.